one of the things that the evaluators would look into is the language. So to review the language used in the assigned ADM modules, and of course, we would also be writing our marginal notes to indicate what errors are found in your work. Okay, the focus of that is the language and grammatical errors. So ang mga evaluators karon ang mga manghimantay sa mga mali. But of course, we would be doing that one in a constructive way. Okay? So one of that is we would look into the coherence and clarity of thought you have written in your module. So you are going to have these questions in your mind, and I hope that you would be able to answer based on your work. So number one of that is, do the statements or the phrases make sense? So basically, that's number one thing that we have to bear in mind. I have much confidence with the writers because you are all English teachers already. So I believe you are very much familiar on how to make or to align all of your work seamlessly and, of course, logically. Number two, do the sentences in the paragraph contribute to one idea? So just like what Ma'am Devs, Ma'am Aubrey, and have shared earlier, you are going to make your module as if you are conversing with the learners. So make sure that your paragraphs also would have the tone like that. Okay? Are the thoughts or the ideas logically sequenced? So that's very important that all of your work are logically sequenced. Are the conjunctions and transitional phrases used to link sentences or paragraph? So you have to make use of these logical connectors to be able to transcend one phrase to another. Is the choice of words and expressions appropriate? So with us in elementary, we are going to use simple vocabulary. But for senior high school, I guess you could use even a better, or um, you would have at least, you can use at least some difficult words, okay? Because as expected, our senior high school students would have a higher vocabulary spectrum already. Okay, are the sentences too long or complex? So please avoid using compound complex sentences, especially in the directions, okay, giving directions to the activities. Make sure that the directions being used in the activities are easy to understand and easy to follow. Next is the language appropriate for the target readers. So we have a different variety of vocabularies that we could use, but as much as possible, we could use the simpler ones. Okay, next is the grammar and the syntax. So number one, and most likely to have an error on the work of most of our writers is on the agreement of subject and verb. So we have to be very careful with that. Next is the correct use of verb tenses. Make sure to align and make sure to have used a parallel use of verb tenses in the sentences that you have used in your work. Then you have, most of the time we commit misplaced or dangling modifiers. Okay, so in dangling modifier, sometimes we could have a classic misplaced modifier wherein you could modify, you modify the wrong thing. So sometimes we do squinting modifier in which could visibly modify the thing to its left or to its right. And then, of course, the prominent dangling modifier, which the modifier has nothing to modify. So please avoid those things. Still on the grammar and the syntax, okay, number four, and clear antecedents and agreement between pronouns and their antecedent. So most likely we have some, maybe we are so engrossed already in writing that we tend to make some mistakes on these little areas in our work. Next, a faulty parallel construction. Okay, parallel means similar parts of sentences have the same structure. Nouns are with nouns, and then verbs with verbs, and phrases with phrases. So we have to really be careful on aligning, making our sentence parallel. Okay. And then we have also split infinitives. Okay. So split infinitives are usually being in place between preposition to and another verb, or yeah, with another verb. We were told to carefully view. So what splits there is the word carefully. Okay, so we have to be careful also on what we are going to use. Okay, to use between the preposition and the verb, so as to modify the words clearly. Still on the grammar and the syntax, you have to avoid overuse of certain words. Okay, so you have to be very careful on this aspect of the syntax on your work, because primarily your students would be reading it in total because they would be doing it individually. So sometimes nauumay sila with the words that we kept on using over and over. And of course, that concerns redundancies as well. Okay, and the spelling and punctuation. So are the words when foreign correctly spelled. If you are using foreign words or title of a book, you have to italicize that. Okay. And then if you are using local words, you also have to italicize it so that the learners or our readers could easily notice that that word is not English word, or that word specifies something. Okay. Are the right punctuations in the right places? So I guess we are very much familiar with that. One of the example of that is serial comma. Most likely we tend to commit that one family. Most of the writers. I'm not generalizing, but mostly these are the little things that they tend to neglect. Okay. So as I have said earlier, the serial comma before and or. Okay, if it is a series of words. Consistency in style. Okay. So the alternative spellings are permitted, was a choice made and used consistently throughout the material. So if you have used that on the first portion of your material, you have to consistently do the same in terms of its spelling in the other portions of your module. Is the need for the same tense or person observed? You have to put that in mind, that you have to be careful with the consistency of tense or the person being observed there. And then you should also answer the question, are the rules on capitalization, hyphenation, setting off in italics are being followed? Okay. So as I've said, we would be giving you a copy of the how you are going to the strict rule on using the words in the module. So we would be giving you a ATM standard for that. And then your competent evaluators could also help you on that, especially no. We have Ma'am Dev, Sir Mel there, and the rest. They could really help you as to the intricateness of your work, or the intricacies of your work. Okay, so after we have evaluated on the language portion of your work, we would be writing our comments and findings on on the margins of your modules. But since we would not be having a hard copy of your module, we could do some comments. Okay, we could do some comments because you would be submitting that one in a soft copy form. So we would be using review and we would be posting comments, okay, on your work. So how are we going to do that? We would highlight the portion that needs to be revised or improved, okay, and where the error is found. Okay, basically we would not be changing that portion yet, but we would be giving you comments and suggestions as you how you are going to improve and revise it.